I'm Michael Corrigan, and I'm running for trustee of the Falmouth Public Library. I've been a resident of Falmouth for 20 years. I chose this town to be my home after living in 30 different addresses before settling here. I grew up an Army brat and lived all over the US and even Germany. Then I spent a career in the Navy, living all over the world again, including this time Vietnam and Iceland. I chose Falmouth to be my home because of the many great features Falmouth has to offer. One of the best of these features is our library, and I'd like to make a contribution to what I think is one of the jewels we have here in our town. When I retired from the Navy, I became a teacher full-time and have been a professor of international relations at Boston University for the past 22 years. Even during my Navy career, however, I was involved in education, teaching at the U.S. Naval Academy, the National War College in Washington, D.C., and the Navy's Graduate School in Newport. However, it was during my other Navy tours of duty that I first became involved in the establishment of or refurbishing of libraries. There were the two of the ships I served on, the Vietnamese Naval Academy, and even the naval base at Newport, Rhode Island. Here in Falmouth, I have again had the good fortune to become involved in library matters. I've been a friend of the library for several years, and I'm now giving my fifth in a series of lectures for the Joy of Learning program at the library. I have also served on several committees in Falmouth, including the Cable Advisory Committee and the first two Charter Revision Committees. I was chair of the second one. Now I'd like to contribute to our town by joining the team at the Falmouth Library. We've all watched how libraries have changed with the advent of the internet and online materials. Books are still important, though, and will be, as far as I can see, in my capacity as an educator. But of course, we need to keep up to date or even ahead of the changes in the way information is presented and searched for. The internet has an overwhelming amount of data, but unfortunately, as much or even more of misinformation or downright deception. It takes skilled teachers and librarians to know the difference and help those, especially young students, who are searching the internet for things they need to know. And skilled librarians is what we have here in Falmouth. We need to make sure that continues and that new methods and technologies are made the most intelligent use of. We've had a good team with the trustees and the folks at our library, and I'd like to join that team and continue to make my contribution to Falmouth. I think I can best do that by working in an area I think is so vital to our future. I want to help our town's library remain the beacon of excellence it has been. For that reason, I would like your vote for trustee of the Falmouth Public Library. Thank you.
Hello, I am Jerry Fanger, seeking re-election as library trustee. I have been elected for 2 terms as a trustee of our library. In addition, for the past 5 years, the Board of Trustees has elected me as the treasurer. My love affair with libraries extends way back. First as a grammar school boy walking to a Boston branch to take out 2 books, and then the excitement of reaching the age to be able to take out 4 books at a time, a rite of passage akin to obtaining a driver's license. And then to the McKim Building, the main library in Copley Square, while attending Boston Latin School. From there, I went on to obtain my BA and JD degrees from the University of Michigan. I was a member of the Massachusetts, Michigan, and federal bars. After serving in the U.S. Army with the 3rd Infantry Division, I began the practice of law with a major business law firm. My fields of practice included securities, antitrust, corporate banking, and trusts. I was also a director of a publicly held exchange-listed company and chair of its audit committee. In such a practice, the responsibilities of a fiduciary are paramount, and the fiduciary duty is critical to being a library trustee. We have lived in Falmouth for the past 20 years. One of our first acts was to obtain a library card and then to become a member of the Friends and the West Falmouth Library, where my wife has served in recent years on the board. I became involved with the main library when the then chairman asked us to participate in the campaign to raise funds for the expansion and furnishing of the main library. I worked on the campaign and served on its advisory committee. The result of the efforts of this community has been outstanding. The reason our library is the crown jewel of the town is the people who staff the library, from the director on down, a very knowledgeable, helpful, and friendly staff. The library board is a very collegial group of 7 that sets policy and allocates funds contributed to the library. We have a wonderful, well-appointed building, and we mean to keep it in the 21st century. That requires constant updating of information technology. Much of that updating comes from the generous contributions by the public. We want to maintain the library as a center of learning and enjoyment for all ages. Since information and education are the keystones of democracy, our town library system must serve as its bulwark. Much has been accomplished in recent years. In addition to the major improvements to and expansion of the main library, we have been able to refurbish the North Falmouth branch and make some needed improvements to the East Falmouth branch. However, much more needs to be done. I would like to continue to serve you as a library trustee so as to participate in keeping our library at the forefront of our community. Thank you very much for your past support, for taking the time to listen to this presentation, and hope that I will have your vote once again.
I am Kathleen Marie, and I'm running for the Board of Trustees of the Falmouth Public Library as an incumbent. I am now running for my 5th term. The role of a trustee is to work with others on the board to oversee and approve the library policies, goals, and plans. We serve all the people of Falmouth. We are governed by State Law Chapter 78 and the Open Meeting Law. Falmouth is fortunate in having a wonderful library system with a wonderful staff. I want this to be continued. On the board, I have served as treasurer and on various committees. I was on the board during the planning and renovation of the main library. Since then, I have been working on improving the East Branch and now am a trustee representative on the feasibility study for the North Branch. I am also currently serving on the policy and resource committees. In the past, I was a substitute in all the Falmouth school libraries. That naturally led to my increasing appreciation of value of libraries to our children. It also increased my knowledge of all of Falmouth and understanding the differing needs or requirements for libraries in various areas of town. I support the growth of various multimedia in the library system, including computers, software, ebooks, and DVDs. I have been active in the Friends of the Library almost since its inception. This includes working on and running book sales and being the president of the Friends for 3 years. I continue to work on the book sales, and I'm currently the trustee liaison to the Friends. My bachelor's degree was in business from the University of Minnesota. I would like to continue my efforts for the Falmouth Public Library and ask for your vote as trustee for Kathleen Marie this May 19th. Thank you.
I'm Marilyn Zacks, and I'm running for re-election as a trustee at the Falmouth Public Library. Recently, the library was commended by a National Library Journal for its patrons' policies and procedures. The staff at the library is dedicated and helpful, as many library patrons will attest. The delivery of good service depends on a nurturing collaboration of trustees, director, and staff. As a trustee, I have encouraged and helped sponsor courses and workshops which have resulted in high staff morale and service. There is a backstory to having a good library. It means creating policies and goals to assure good service in the ever-changing world of information technology. The decisions and policies range from establishment of requirements for shirts and shoes to deciding whether the use of a program room is appropriate with our mission and policies. I see my job as a trustee to consistently attend all board meetings, staying informed, and making sure that the trustees create policies to maintain not only service, but safety and security in a very public place. In the past, I've been an outspoken advocate for the need to renovate the library building. It was important to me and also fun, persuading the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality that our library really needed an upgrade. You may remember the Vote Yes campaign on question 2, which included library supporters, including myself, wearing hats at the polls. I brought my skills to ensure the vote would be a success and followed through to carefully choose library furnishings and decor, while at the same time maintaining watchfulness to see that the job was done on time and on budget, and it was. It has been my pleasure to be able to support the two branch libraries. Both North Falmouth and East are viable, well-used facilities, and recent efforts have paid off in expanding hours of use. I participated in a public and private donor effort to upgrade the facilities that are now enjoyed. A good trustee also provides vision for what is possible. I was instrumental in the founding of the Friends of Falmouth Public Library. Their book sale has been a remarkable community event, and I would like to note here that my colleague Kathleen Marie has been a diligent liaison from our board to that group. There is also a strong collaboration between our board treasurer, Jerry Fanger, and the Friends to make the best possible use of combined resources provided by both Friends and trustees. Speakers and special programs would not be possible without these resources. All of the trustees have worked hard to make the library the beneficiary of our skills and dedication. It has been an honor and a pleasure to work with dedicated fellow trustees. There are several ongoing initiatives where my experience in library affairs would facilitate the project. The library is embarking on a new strategic plan. It plans to explore customer service in the digital age. This exciting project involves skills that I have used to implement library 5-year plans. I would find this very exciting and would like to meaningfully contribute to this venture. The library also has a grant as a resource center for early childhood education. We are 1 in 5 selected libraries throughout the state, a distinct honor for Falmouth. We have been able to develop programs and have an impressive selection of learning materials for parents and teachers. I have been and will continue to be an advocate for children's literacy. In summary, I'd like to say I've tried my very best to be an active, informed, effective trustee. I enjoy being an advocate for the library and literacy. Our library services make for a viable and well-informed community, which is the cornerstone of our democracy. I would appreciate your support in sustaining my service and commitment to the library. I will continue to use experiences gained in the past to maintain what is relevant and support innovation where appropriate. I am eager to participate in the library's bright future. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Douglas C. Brown. I currently reside at 10 Greenacre Road in East Falmouth. I'm a contractor doing custom building and remodeling. I've been in business here in Falmouth for over 30 years. I grew up on Shorewood Drive in East Falmouth. I attended Falmouth Public Schools. Though I do not possess a college degree, after high school I joined the Navy and then traveled the U.S. before returning to Falmouth permanently in 1982. I have taken classes at community college to enhance my business and renewable energy knowledge. My volunteer work in civic organizations in Falmouth began with serving for a short time on the board of Falmouth Housing Trust. I then served on the town building committee. My time on the committee included the library renovation, and I was the town's representative to the Marina Park Music Pavilion restoration. I have served as a town meeting member since 2003, originally representing Precinct 3 from my home on Shorewood Drive. I did eventually serve as captain in the precinct. I currently represent Precinct 9 from my home on 10 Greenacre Road. One of my favorite volunteer activities has always been being a founding member of the board of the East Falmouth Village Association. I feel like local neighborhood community organizations are really important, and I'm so glad that we have a good one in East Falmouth. When the State Highway Department was repaving East Falmouth Highway, they proposed repaving and not including sidewalks. With the Village Association membership support, we created a petition and the state was willing to install sidewalks from Seacoast Shores to Kenyon's Market. We have accomplished many other goals as well, but that one I thought was very important. Another organization I'm very proud of is Falmouth Water Stewards. We were formerly known as FACES, Falmouth Associations Concerned with Falmouth Estuaries and Salt Ponds. We have advocated for cleaning up Falmouth's waters for more than 20 years. I've been on the board for several years, and I currently serve as vice president. My experience as a pond watcher for the Mass Estuaries Project has helped me understand just how endangered our waters in Falmouth have become. As a member of the Falmouth Water Stewards, I'm able to take action to try to move forward on remedying that problem. I did also serve on the town's original Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan Review Committee. I think that was a very important role. I think we now have a good plan in place, and it's moving forward with a great group of people on that committee. I very much enjoy my work on the planning board. I find it well suited to my skills, even though I'm not a professional engineer. I'm good at reading plans, and I'm willing to do whatever reading I need to do to educate myself on the issue at hand. I'm Doug Brown, candidate for re-election to the planning board, and I ask for your vote on Tuesday, May 19th. Thank you.
Hello folks, my name is David Haddad and I'm running for member of the planning board. For those who don't know me, let me start by saying I'm a local kid who grew up in Falmouth, got married here, raised a family, and call Falmouth my home. The 7 members of the planning board must reflect the community it represents. And I've been part of this community for 50 years. I have seen changes to the appearance and to the function of the town I grew up in. Some of it is good, some of it not so good. I'd like to be a part of creating a vision for what this town looks like in the next 50 years and a roadmap of how to get there. I've been employed locally and have been active in our community, including as a call firefighter, president of the Pop Warner Football, 14 years as a town meeting member, and most recently 4 years on the Zoning Board of Appeals, my last year as its chairman. And I have seen a lot of zoning changes over those years. Unfortunately, some of the changes have been piecemeal and have not always fit into the overall vision for the town. Planning is not just the approval of subdivisions. It should be finding creative ways to use our land, coastal and natural resources to achieve the continued vitality of our community, to support the housing, employment, and recreational needs of our residents and visitors while protecting our heritage and uniqueness. It's just not good enough to adopt plans from other towns. Planning for the town is the most critical thing that can happen, and the planning board needs to plan. Through my experience on the ZBA, I learned to listen to people in the community. I learned to ask questions, to gather information, and to use professional resources, and perhaps most important, to consider the impact of my decisions and to always look back at the result. We can always learn from our successes and the things that haven't gone so well. Ken Foreman, who was a former chairman of the planning board and whom I served with on the ZBA, once said that members of the planning board should first serve on the zoning board to see the actual impact the zoning bylaws have on our community. No current member of the planning board has served on the Zoning Board of Appeals. By applying the bylaws while on the ZBA, I got to see the strengths and weaknesses and the holes that need to be plugged. Reviewing the town of Falmouth zoning bylaws should be a critical priority for the planning board. In 2012, I, along with all the members of the ZBA, brought to the attention of the Board of Selectmen and the planning board the need to review and revise our zoning bylaws. According to the town planner, the zoning bylaw has not been comprehensively reviewed since 1947. Since that time, there have been hundreds of amendments to the bylaw, resulting in a document that is not user-friendly. Currently, there are contradictions and unnecessary complications in the bylaw. Town meeting agreed with us and voted unanimously at the spring 2013 annual town meeting for the sum of $35,000 to complete an independent professional review. The planning department has been challenged with this task, but unfortunately nothing measurable has been completed. At a recent planning board meeting, one of the members said that they were familiar with the subdivision rules, but not the zoning bylaws. I believe in my experience I can help in this area, and would be willing to work closely with the other members and staff to get this job done. Revisions to the zoning bylaw need to be based on thoughtful analysis by the planning board rather than as reactions to petitioners' articles that tend to benefit particular owners. For instance, there were 2 petition articles that were defeated at our 2015 spring town meeting with regards to the Marine District. The town was being asked to change the zoning and the impact of the existing zoning. The planning board recommended approval of one of the articles without having completed a thorough review of the Marine District, and whether the prior goals of this district had even been met. Over several years, there have been petitioner articles seeking changes to the Marine District that would appear to benefit 1, 2, or 3 property owners. They were soundly defeated. In 2008, the Planning Board spoke of the need to consider the entire Marine District, how it can be integrated with the East Main Street Redevelopment District. After 7 years, this still needs to happen. Looking at connecting our existing bikeways to expand non-vehicular enjoyment in our harbor is just one of those considerations. Should be more emphasis on pedestrian walkways to extend beauty downtown to the harbor. Falmouth Harbor is one of our jewels and deserves a comprehensive consideration. Another example of the need for planning is the impact of the new FEMA flood zones. Some other towns have revised their bylaws to address the issues that the new maps bring with them. While I was on the ZBA, I'd seen these issues come up on several occasions. Homes in some areas of our town could reach the heights of 50 feet or more, 15 feet more than our bylaws allow. We need to plan for how we handle this now. The town is spending millions of dollars on cleaning up our estuaries, yet there have been no changes to our zoning bylaws to create greater protection in our coastal pond and water resource overlay districts. We need more good planning like was done in the business redevelopment. This was a thoughtful approach to planning, incorporating compatible business and residential uses with an improved visual character. That type of planning needs to be extended further east, and I can help in bringing my experiences to the Planning Board when considering modifying the zoning. I'm running for Planning Board because it's important for the future of the town. It may be the board that doesn't get the recognition that it deserves. My name is David Haddad, and I'm asking you for your vote on May 19th for Planning Board.
Hi, my name is Bob Leary, and I am seeking re-election to the Falmouth Planning Board. I have always been willing to volunteer my time whenever my help has been requested. I have been a Habitat for Humanity construction supervisor for the past 22 years. I am a volunteer boat builder with the Woods Hole Historical Museum's Boat Building Outreach Program for the past 12 years. I serve on my church's Building and Grounds Committee. I have served on the Oddfellows Hall Ad Hoc Committee and the Senior Center Site Selection Committee. So 6 years ago, when I was asked to volunteer to fill a vacancy on the Falmouth Planning Board, I did so without hesitation. Planning was essential to my 31-year career as a teacher, so joining the Planning Board was a natural fit. Public service is something I feel strongly about. I believe that democracy is a verb and that I have no right to complain about something if I am not willing to do something about it. I love this town and want to help it to remain a beautiful, vibrant place to live and work. Planning is essential to this happening. I currently serve on the Planning Board's Local Comprehensive Plan Subcommittee. This committee has met with many groups and representatives from our community to gain from their insight as to what the town of Falmouth can do to remain economically viable, a pleasant place to live and work, and better governed. Through this work, I have become well-versed in topics such as coastal resiliency, housing, public infrastructure, transportation, complete streets, water quality, and historic preservation. As a result of these meetings, we have already identified several changes that can be made to our zoning bylaws and ways to streamline the permitting process that we plan to bring forward to future town meetings. My experience co-authoring the wind turbine and light industrial sea zoning bylaws has provided me with the experience to move forward on these initiatives. I think we can all agree that Falmouth is a beautiful and unique part of the world to which, as a citizen, I feel a strong stewardship to preserve. Besides its natural beauty, Falmouth's built environment makes it an attractive destination and place to live. Our surroundings have a direct impact on how we think and feel. As I have traveled throughout this country, I have been dismayed at the corporatization of the built environment. Many towns have lost their unique characteristics and identity to what I have termed logo architecture. I do not want Falmouth to follow suit. As a planner, I try to balance the need for Falmouth to prosper and grow with the need to retain our core identity. Economic growth and historical integrity can coexist as we build toward the future while maintaining a respectful eye on our past. It is only through a clear vision and careful planning that Falmouth can retain its character, provide opportunity for all of our citizens of all ages, and still remain economically resilient and vibrant. Falmouth is entering a new phase of redevelopment. It is already happening at two major intersections, Davis Straits and Davisville. It was the Davis Straits CVS project that put my vision and philosophy to the test. Their plan did not address many of the concerns I had with travel through the site, parking safety, signage, and the architecture of the building. Since it was a special permit, the planning board was allowed a certain amount of discretion. I utilized the tenets of the 240-216 special permit process to stand my ground, to see that the changes I felt important were ultimately made to the plan. The result, although not ideal, is a vast improvement over the original plan. The ripple effect of this project has been better building designs that pay homage to Falmouth's history and character. The other caveat has been the transfer of architectural design consideration to the planning board in relation to special permit projects. If you have attended one of our meetings or watched us on TV, you may notice that I do not have a lot to say. I tend to be a better listener than talker. My decision-making methodology is simple. I listen, ask questions if I have one that hasn't already been asked and answered, and take notes. I will then check the applicable bylaw and definitions, consult with our planning staff, consider precedent or future unintended consequences, the benefits to the town as well as the applicant, and any adverse effects a decision may have on abutters prior to making my decision. As emotional or controversial as some decisions can be, I adhere to the code and guidelines permitted by law in the purview and responsibilities of the planning board. In closing, I want to convey how fortunate I am to serve on a board with 6 other individuals whose wide range of talents, expertise, and knowledge allows us to work together towards the common goal of doing what we feel best serves the town people of Falmouth. We may not always agree with each other, but we all recognize the need to always remain respectful and tolerant of our differences, and to treat each other and those we serve in a civil manner. I would consider it an honor to continue the work I have begun, so go to the polls and give Bob the job. Thank you.
I'm Mark Finneran, and I'm running for a seat on the Board of Selectmen. Those of you that know me are aware that I have been a constant and outspoken presence in town affairs for many years. I strive to represent those of you who feel you have no voice, as well as ask all the questions that otherwise would go unasked. When you vote for someone to be your selectman, you are in fact giving him your confidence that he will represent your interests and needs. All too often when a selectman is elected, they go on to become simply a spokesman for town management, and the taxpayers wind up taking a back seat. If you elect me as your representative to the Board of Selectmen, your selectman, I give you my solemn promise that I will put you, your needs, and the town as a whole first. My record shows this clearly. My opponent has been in office for 3 years now. What has he done that stands out in your mind? Think about it. In those same 3 years, I have, with the support of town meeting, addressed issues at our waste management facility, including the pursuit of scrap metal reimbursement, the funding for the position of solid waste manager. The position is still unfilled, but funded. The fact that it remains unfilled should raise question in any thinking person's mind. Although I might be perceived as a thorn, my work on behalf of the residents in the area of solid waste led to the Board of Selectmen to appoint me to the Solid Waste Committee. I have also, through town meeting, established the public comment period before every meeting of the Board of Selectmen. This allows direct access to the board and management to any citizen on any matter that is not before the board that evening. It at least cracks open a door that many, myself included, feel has been closed too long. After voting was removed from our elementary schools, and 2 disastrous attempts to have 4 precincts vote at the high school, I passed through town meeting an article to return voting to our villages, where residents can comfortably exercise their right and privilege to vote. Although the elementary schools may have been a desired location, I helped forge a compromise solution that includes St. Anthony's Hall and the Jewish Congregation Center. Last year, I also passed through town management a requirement that we have a complete litigation report at every annual town meeting. This April was the first comprehensive report we have ever had. The taxpayers now can see who sued us, who we have sued, why we went to court, how much we have paid out or recovered, and we should have the information on how much we paid each lawyer. This is information the Board of Selectmen should have requested years ago to help them make more prudent decisions. This past town meeting, I had 2 articles on the floor about real money, your money. I was not so successful. One was close, one not so much. I don't have such a big ego that I need to win every issue. What is better? To raise issues and get us to think through things, though, and perhaps not get enough votes? or never raise your voice to be heard. Pass or fail. All of these articles are about your money and how this town spends it. All information I believe you are entitled to, but not always given. Of late, it is a given that we raise our tax levy to the limit of 2.5%. That's 25% in 10 years. Ask yourself, will your income rise 25% in the next 10 years? Ask yourself, can we do a better job with what we have? Ask yourself, is there room for openness and improvement? In the next few weeks, while you think about our election on May 19th, I ask you to speak to your neighbors and talk to the residents that are working hard to make a living. Are we all getting what we need from our town government and from our tax dollars? Do you every day see needs to repair our infrastructure, whether it is our roads, rusty water mains, or the simple flushing of fire hydrants for our safety? When you see our town employees, they are also our infrastructure. They are the people who do the real work, the people who really make this town run. Ask them their opinions. Then ask yourself one more question. Is it time to vote Mark Finneran? Consider it a vote for yourself. Vote Finneran. It's time. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Doug Jones, and I'm running for re-election to the Falmouth Board of Selectmen. I would first like to thank FCTV for providing this opportunity to all candidates to make a presentation about their experiences and qualifications for holding office. I'm a native of Falmouth and a graduate of Falmouth High School, class of 1979. After graduating from high school, I went to Princeton University, taught math and Latin in Cambridge for 14 years, and earned a Master's of Education from Harvard. I then moved back to Falmouth to raise my family and to be closer to my parents, Megan and Dick Jones. For the past 18 years, I have been the head of the math department at Falmouth Academy. In addition, I have been the administrative director of the Children's School of Science for the past 27 years. After returning to Falmouth, I was elected as a town meeting member and then a trustee of the Falmouth Public Library. I also served as a member of the Mullen School Building Committee. For the past 11 years, I have been a precinct captain, and I have facilitated the warrant meetings for Precinct 1 and 2. 3 years ago, I was honored to be elected to the Board of Selectmen. For the past 2 years, I have served as the vice chairman of the board, and I'm especially proud of the work that the board has done to become a productive, deliberative, and thoughtful executive committee. Over the past 3 years, we have made significant progress in a number of ways. With the hiring of a finance director, we have been able to dramatically improve the town's financial position. We have established and funded a capital stabilization fund, while also increasing the monies in the general stabilization fund. Following the suggestions of the Capital Advisory Committee, we have been investigating ways to enhance our capital projects. We have worked closely with the school department and been able to avoid Proposition 2.5 overrides to provide funding for the school budget. During the most recent town meeting, the town budget was approved after only 15 minutes of discussion. This was due in large part to the amount of preparation that went into creating a thoughtful and balanced budget. In addition, the town administration listened carefully to the requests of town meeting members for more detailed information that was ultimately provided to all town meeting members in the warrant booklet. We have made substantial progress in solving two of the most complex and challenging problems facing communities today: wastewater and drinking water. Our comprehensive wastewater treatment plan will likely be the model for all communities in the Commonwealth, while our water filtration plant will be the envy of many towns. We are moving forward with exciting plans for a new senior center, and we are hopeful about the conversion of the landfill into an extensive solar energy product. While we have been successful in many areas of town, there certainly continue to be areas where we can improve. The Board of Selectmen must continue to make efforts to be more responsive and communicative with the people of Falmouth. To this end, I have proposed to my fellow board members that we hold office hours on any Monday night when we do not have a regularly scheduled meeting. 2 members of the board would be available to listen to concerns, answer questions, explain policies and procedures, and take suggestions for future board agenda items. Since these sessions would not be formal meetings, there could not be any deliberations or immediate solutions provided, but there would be opportunity for open dialogue and transfer of information. One of the greatest strengths of this town is the complexity of its constituency. We are an amazing conglomeration of long-time Falmouth residents, summer folk who have chosen to retire here, world-renowned scientists and their families, service people and their town employees, highly valued nonprofit organizations, lucrative businesses, and a thriving tourist industry. During my many years living in Falmouth, I have been fortunate to work in many of these fields, and I understand their needs and values. In my various administrative roles, I have always played an important role in the development and implementation of budgets. As a math teacher, my ability to work with numbers and both understand and to explain the significance of incremental increases has been a great benefit to the Board of Selectmen. In addition, I have proven through my many years of coaching my appreciation for working as a member of a team to achieve group success. Over the past 3 years, the Board of Selectmen has followed the direction of the town charter and successfully worked as a group, and I know that I have helped to develop the cohesiveness and cooperation that this town needs. I have an open mind, and I'm willing to consider new and innovative ideas while considering the financial burdens of the town. As a teacher, I fully understand the importance of doing one's homework, and I will continue to provide the responsive and respectful leadership necessary to make intelligent choices. I have worked hard to gain your trust, and I hope that you will vote for Doug Jones for Selectman on May 19th.